guys, it's me, Ruowen Huang. Before I begin, let me first introduce myself. My name is Ruowen Huang. I'm an author, spirit coach, and also a psychic. Today, I want to talk about a topic that is, again, mostly talk or show up on my Facebook, called How Early Can We Talk About Sex? I honestly, I don't know. I don't know how to. I watch a couple posts, so I may not be fully understanding of this topic, but basically the background, just for you guys a little bit background, is in Taiwan, they try to introduce sex earlier in their elementary school, but then sure enough they had more protests, a lot of protests about it, because understand maybe Taiwan is a more conservative country. We don't talk about sex like that. We don't. So it's almost like a taboo. You don't talk about it. So many parents believe by introducing sex earlier stage in elementary school is not appropriate. It's not appropriate. So now they are here say she say, right? Like what is better, what is not better. There are pros and cons. Of course, everything comes with pros and cons. There's never one way is the best way to deal with things. But I personally, as a mom, I will share my personal opinion with you guys. If you want to ask me when is the best time to talk about sex, I would say the best time to talk about sex is when kids are first curious about sex. That is, I'm pretty sure many of you experience that, is, Mom, where do I come from? How am I made? I think it's human nature, or in all animals' nature, they want to know something. They want to figure out something. So at that time, I'm pretty sure many parents will have a different answer. Well, you were sent by pelican, or you're like come up by the magic wand, or you were I don't know, whatever answer you had. As for me, I too was in that hot spot before. I too was asked by my children, very young. If you think elementary school is young, trust me, that curiosity come way earlier than elementary school. So my solution to it is I decide to tell my children the truth. Even though many of you will say, well, it's not appropriate, I decide to tell them the truth. So I also decide to introduce their sexual organ. This and this, that is penis. I don't have, like little dong there. I decide to use word as it is, because I realize however I present myself, whatever attitude I have, is going to influence my kids' perception toward that item. But it's more than normal you have such an organ on your body, and it's more than normal you have to figure out how to protect them. If I always say it like, oh, that kind of thing, I'm already adding meaning to it, like which my kid do not need to learn. You know what I mean? So anyway, I decide, as uncomfortable as it is, mind you, I'm coming from Asian country, so it is uncomfortable for me. I decided to tell my kids the truth. But I didn't just tell them, I also had bird. A lot of parents, I'm pretty sure you do exactly what I do. You will start having bird as a pet, and then you start introducing what's mating. When does mating happen? Because I talk about mating, because I talk about giving birth, because I talk about as a male, female, and I talk about organ. One thing that is very important, which a lot of parents forget to introduce, is called consent. I tell them how this activity happen when two people are agree to it, and then they decide it's time for them to have a baby. I tell them this interaction should not be forced upon, should not be one way only consent. It should be both way. I teach them how they should not let people touch their private part, or how they should learn to protect that. I teach them. So it's not just sex I talk about. I talk about everything else that go with it. So if you ask me how early do I talk about it, I talk about it as soon as they are curious about it. I talk about it just like every other thing I would talk about it with them. Just like I would talk about death. Death. No kids want to talk about death, but I did talk about death on early stage because they're curious. Does people die? Would I die? Will you die? Yes, I talk about that too. I didn't choose to lie. No, mom will always be here with you. I might be spiritually here with you, but no, I'm gonna go someday. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is many of you will come to me and seek for my advice. Hopefully I talk about this topic and say when is the appropriate time to talk about sex. What, as a mom, I mean, I get it. We try all our way to protect our kids. But really, the best way to protect your kid is not to avoid them from knowing it. You know, you really believe if school don't teach you, your kids ain't gonna know? I mean, come on. Everybody have a phone. Everybody have access to internet. And you really believe internet is so pure and clean and they never talk about it? I'd rather my kids learn the education from me correctly than learning something from the internet who I don't know who teach them. You know what I mean? I'd rather my kids go to school, teacher talk about it at the age. And if you don't know what age your kid will still share the story with you, trust me, it's when they were in elementary school. They would come back and say, Mom, the teachers still talk about you. I'm able to share and correct them. Correct if anything goes wrong. I'm able to talk about it. Instead of they go to high school and then they decide not to talk about anything and they just want to try it all out from the YouTube. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, as a mom, I too am a mom of two. So what my suggestion is, if your kids ever want to talk about sex, talk about it. What I'm saying, just talk about it. Not because they are young, so don't talk about it, but talk about it like it is what it is. Don't add other things to it. You know, talk about not just sex, talk about how they should protect themselves, how they should understand, you know, it's consent behavior. It's not just, you know, someone force upon or someone manipulate you into. Let them know, understand what it is for them. You know, it's their decision to give or to take. I don't know what it is, but, you know, let them make that decision for themselves. But if you continue avoiding it, continue not talk about it, I mean, we humans have a nature of curiosity. We will want to know. We will want to know. I mean, during the time I'm telling my kids, I also tell them there's a reason why people choose to have sex later on at a later on stage, not an early stage, because you are mentally, physically are more developed. So when you are more developed, you feel more. You feel more, you know. It's really only for your benefit, but if you say, you know what, I don't care, you know, I just want to try early, go ahead. I mean, I cannot stop you. But what I'm saying is human body as you age, you naturally grows more sensation kicking in. If you want your first time to feel great, I mean, wait a little bit. Definitely not baby, definitely not 5-year-old, definitely not 10-year-old. Wait a little bit, because all those sensations were kicking into your body, just like you will start having a mind understanding. Okay, when you were a kid, you believe the world is black or white, and you believe, I love this, I hate this. I love this, I hate this. As you grow into adulthood, you start to realize there's gray zone. There's 80% of your life is gray zone, and only very little percentage of white and very little percentage of hate. You know what I mean? So right now, early age, you can try sex, but understand you will only have, I like it, I hate it. If you love it, great. But if you hate it, you're literally taking a risk and ruin the rest of your life because you already make up your mind. Or you understand there's a gray zone in between. Wait until your body develops in a way that it's mature enough that you feel it. Not only physically feeling it, you also emotionally feeling it. You know what I mean? So I also talk about that with my kids. So at the early stage of the time, I talk about private part, that this is something personal. Those are part of personal. So I talk about, you know, how nature, I pointed out a lot, how nature, you know, you had to come to two people agree and wanted to have kids, wanted to extend the family. That's why they want to have sex. Nature, I point out mating. So it's not like, oh, don't look at it, you know, what are they doing? Because they feel right, both agree upon. You know what I mean? So those are the things I'm focusing on sexual education when I want to first introduce that to my kids. So again, if many of you are curious where I stand, what I believe, this is where I stand. Sex is the only nature of the universe. I don't think this is something that we should always avoid talking. Don't talk about it. As you must know me by now, I realize this society creates a lot of fear for people because we don't know anything about it, because we don't talk about it. We don't, you know, understand it better. For me, for people to deal with that fear is by talking more about it, to educate them, to let them understand better about it, so then they can make their own decision for themselves. So this is where I stand, and then I hope for many of you who want to know and want to hear me talk about this, this is where my talk is. So again, if you like what I'm what I really want to say is sex should never be avoid talking. Sex is what you're born with, and it's more than natural. Everybody have a desire to feel that connection. So teach them how to feel it. You know what? Instead of trying to avoid them, it's like I teaching someone. If I ever always forbid someone to eat sweets, no sweet. I notice when it comes to party, they are like devour it, like, because I can never have it, and all of a sudden, you know, I can have it, so I want to have more of it. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be this way. Anyway, that's what I'm talking about. So again, if you like what I'm doing, you can always subscribe my channel, or go to, or click the ads, buy me coffee, or go to join me on Facebook or my website, ruowen.com. Till then, next time, bye.